Welcome back to Showdown with KimchiRednecks.
Call it a midlife situation.
And today is a cherry update. Because once upon a time, months ago in the hither yon, back before the days of today, we made our technically second cherry bounce.
Here's the first and here's the second.
So there's a video link up here somewhere for
the first or second.
For the second one. But
he was unaware that we still had some of the original. So we are going to taste the original today that we made. Will be over.
Actually, that's over a year old.
That's over a year old, and then this is about
7 months old.
7 months old,
and
also made differently.
As we said at the end of the last video, we've got cheesecake.
I made him a New York style cheesecake out of cherry bounce.
So we are obviously in this video not going to show you how to make cheesecake because there's a perfectly good video somewhere on how to make a cheesecake Melissa style. So go watch that. We'll wait. Okay, so first off, we're going to remind ourselves of this one. Now this was the one that we basically just took a straight sugar wash and threw some cherries and spice in and let it sit to see what it would kind of taste like. This now has a little age on it and it looks kind of brown for some reason. Okay, now with a little age on it, I get a little more of that like cherry cough syrupy feeling to it.
I still don't hate it though.
But it's not bad. It's got the spices.
So the difference too is that this one was made with sweet cherries.
Yes, this was made with mainly sweet cherries, and it started off as a sugar shine base.
Yes, whereas this one was made as a cherry brandy with tart cherries. Because, you know.
Well, sweet and tart cherries.
We're all about your health here, so we put the tart cherries in because tart cherry juice is really good for your inflammations.
And we're in Korea, so we try to use a lot of Korean ingredients, and Korean cherries are the tart style cherries. So we did mix some sweet cherries in there with it, but there's a lot of tart cherry in there. So this one smells more, as an American, what I think cherry, but it's more like cherry syrup than actual cherry. This has a much more, I don't necessarily want to say delicate, but lighter fruity smell to it. But yeah, that time, just the time in the jar, just aging.
It just gets better.
It's a little tart. It's a little sweet. It's a little warm, but it never actually burns. It's got layers.
It's actually a nice drink.
It's a nice.
I think it'll make a nice sipping cream.
It probably would. This is a nice sipping drink as is.
But I made it into a cheesecake. But I also soaked a bunch of cherries. They were dark sweet cherries. I soaked dark sweet cherries into our cherry bounce, and then I added a little bit of simple syrup and a little bit of our cherries from No Brand to give it
that little cherry puree thing. Or?
I added a little bit to give it a little sweetness, but also a little bit to help it puree a little bit better. But I could technically put this on the stove and cook it down and get it like really more what you would think of as like a topping for a cheesecake. But I don't really want to do that because I'm just going to cook out alcohol and then add more alcohol.
And then you're going to wind up basically about where you started from.
But what I've done here is I have macerated the cherries, and then this is going to be our cherry sauce.
As close as we can figure, we have about a 30 to 40 proof cherry topping for our cheesecake.
I wanted to keep it that way.
So,
all right, so I'm going to top.
Well, let's try the cheesecake first, and then we'll top. Get the before and after.
Fucking up my pictures.
Well, take your pictures, and then we'll take pictures for the topping. Or you can top one and take a picture.
You can top one and take a picture.
All right, so straight unadulterated cheesecake. The alcohol doesn't come through real strong, but you can taste it a little bit in the back. It tastes more like just regular cherry cheesecake, honestly. I'm not unhappy with that. That's a perfectly good tasting cheesecake. Now, let's get all the goodness. That's good.
I think you married me for my cheesecake making skills. Maybe.
That's good.
So what you're saying is I rose to the challenge and...
It's quite possibly the first and only cherry bounce cheesecake on the internet. What you think about that, people?
They're like, give me peace.
Frito on TV. I would not let just any homebody who thinks they can get a cheesecake pack from the grocery store try and make this. Get somebody who knows how to make a cheesecake.
So what you all might not know is that this fool here makes these random ass challenges, right? You know what would be good in a cheesecake? Please tell me, Chuck, what would be good in a cheesecake? And then he gives me the challenge. And then I have to sit with it and go, how would I make a cheesecake out of that? How would I make that into the perfect bite of a cheesecake? I knew straight up that swirling this in wasn't going to get enough flavor. Also knew that the alcohol was going to cook out of it because, well, that's what it does. So I soaked those cherries. I maybe, if I made it again, would soak the cherries for a little bit longer, maybe a couple days. However, I knew I was always going to do this part. I already knew that. We didn't know yesterday that I was going to actually pour all of the cherry into the cheesecake and make it straight cheesecake. But I think it was the right choice.
And with all of the random stuff that I've thought of, and I've thought up some doozies over the years, she has not managed to not get one to work yet.
I'll be honest, I thought this one was going to be a fail.
This is honestly rather exquisite. So if you got somebody who you know could like make a from scratch top-notch cheesecake, and you got some cherry bounce around, maybe you too can live life this good.
If you don't know somebody who can make you a cheesecake, get you a Sara Lee. Throw you some nice dark sweet cherries into your cherry bounce for a little while.
You can make the topping pretty easily.
You can make the topping. That's kind of easy. Literally, it's simple syrup. You could use a little bit of maraschino cherry like in it as well if you wanted a little extra sweetness. But yeah, this was an easy topping.
But that's pretty much it. This is a short video. We just wanted to let y'all know, since we said at the end of the last video that we were going to let it sit till after my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Yay! So we broke it out. We tasted it. It's good. And then we made cheesecake with it.
And now
that's better.
For my local peoples, if you said you want a cherry bounce,
we've opened it now, so now we can share it with people. And there's a few people going to get a little bit of cheesecake just to know how sadly they've been living their lives up to this point. Like, subscribe, do the internet stuff. We'll see y'all later.
Call it a midlife situation, a moonshine.